Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you a 3 versus 3 on Omaha, and in this one I'm going to be playing the 3rd Armoured battle group. So this was a random game. I joined into a random 3v3 lobby, so I'm going to be playing with Pork Surprise and Carl today against Roback, Dura SVK and Last Light. So I wasn't on comms to anyone in this one, I was just taking my own side of the map and playing it out. And if I set it to my point of view, we can start to look at what I was planning to do. So I was designated with the right side with my 3rd Armoured, and this is actually a little bit different to some of the other games I've played. It is still Conquest game mode, but in this one we're actually fighting up to 4,000 points instead of 2,000. So the game will last at least twice as long as it would normally, and that's if the enemy don't surrender before then. But either way, we do have to basically push it a lot harder, and like a +1 lead isn't so much of an issue because you have plenty more time to get back into the game with the sort of 4,000 conquest points if something does happen to go wrong. So I wasn't particularly concerned about the settings. It does mean that we are going to see a very intense game, and as you can see, I'm starting to go with my pretty normal setup. Couple of AT guns on the right side here with the infantry and the infantry command with a recon jeep, and then I've got 2 M5A1s at the start supported by a half track with normal infantry and command infantry. That's pretty much my start sorted. In the centre we have Carl with his 15th Scots Division. You can see he's bringing up some recon. He's got an MG in there, an AT gun, got some recon of course. Then over on the left side we have the 2nd Infantry. Pork Surprise taking out some recon at the start alongside the very large squads of infantry. It's also got a mortar there as well. I would not be surprised to see if that's actually the 106 mortar. Could actually be the 60mm Ranger mortar, because a lot of people seem to be using those because they can actually run around quite quickly and they do have quite a nice rate of fire. But either way, that's pretty much our setup from our side of things. I'm just going to speed it up until we get underway, and here we go. Let's turn the speed back down. I actually really like this map. I've grown to love this map. I was a bit unsure about Omaha to begin with because it seems like some of the really cool parts of the map, like for example this sort of chateau, I guess, it never really fought over, when it would be really awesome if it could be. But then again, like the different variants of this map, having like the 4v4 version like sideways is really cool, and also having the 1v1 version like fighting over a town is just really fun. So I'm definitely enjoy this map now, and I think it's one of the best ones we've seen so far. Point to Hock's great, and I mean all of the maps are fantastic honestly, especially considering they are quite historically accurate in the sense they used, I think, World War II images from the time, like aerial photos, to map stuff in the game, and then they just changed them for balance. So yeah, it was really cool. Either way, my 2 M5A1s. Moving up here, you can see them coming either side of this tree line. I actually decided to move this one into tree patch here with the other M5A1. Got my AT guns moving into the hedges over here. And I've got my half tracks moving over to the right side as well. So the idea with this infantry is actually to move them to this tree line. And then I'm going to push up this tree line, see if I can make some ground on the right side, like I've done before. I found that often people don't really defend the far right flank like this, and therefore you can just sneak some units up there and take ground for free. And I've got my infantry in the centre. You can see that's all moving up to this tree line. Got them all on attack move just to come to the bottom side of the trees, and then I'm going to move them up manually through there.
Nothing to report.
I'm moving the M3A1 half track out into the open so that I can shoot at these Panzergrenadiere of Last Light. In the centre, Carl's 6-pounder is engaging enemy tank here. And it's going to be the Stug of the 17th SS Panzer, but the 6-pounder does actually take out the Stug with its 11 AP power. Lovely job there done by Karl at the start of the game. Going to give him quite the advantage. That Stug definitely costs a lot of points. And what you can see me doing on the left here is actually moving forwards this half track into one of these bushes, so that if anything comes into this tree line I can suppress it almost immediately, just outside the range of, say, a Panzerfaust. So I think from here to here is about 150 meters, but probably just a little bit longer than that, about 200 meters. So anything that gets caught out in the open will not be able to shoot back with its AT weapon. Also, I am playing against the 17th SS Panzer, so their infantry doesn't actually come with AT, only the Panzerschreck squads do. We do a little bit more damage to this Panzergrenadier. Don't really want to move my half track out into the open though, so I'm just going to try and see if I can sneak the shot onto the Panzergrenadier without it being hit by the 222, and I just about manage it. Quickly turn that back into cover. Managed to take out a cheeky unit there, but things pretty slow so far. Bringing up a mortar half track. Slowly moving up the infantry on the right side, pushing the front line forwards, which is working out quite well. There's a couple of AT guns on this right side, so I'm definitely not going to be moving my tanks over that right side anytime soon. So what I'm looking at now is basically for a weakness. I know that I can probably take out this 221, so I'm just going to start mortaring it and then get my M5A1s onto target. If I can take that out, that's another free kill. There we go, ammo explosion. A few shots there from the M5A1s. I'm just going to keep them moving together for the majority of the match, just because they complement each other so well. Like, just having tanks with more tanks always works out. I'm just having them roll back for now, as I do not want to be caught out by any random AT weapon. And I'm also moving the mortar so that it doesn't get counter-batteried by enemy mortars. And as you can see, there is an AT gun here, which was found by this half-track. So that was exactly the reason why I brought back these M5A1s. I would have assumed that he had an AT gun somewhere here. So I just basically took that cheeky kill of the 221 and then retreated. Now I'm going to be using this mortar to fire at the location where that AT gun was, and then I'm going to move these M5A1s over back into cover, ready to await the help of some infantry. So basically what I planned to do at this point was move up these half tracks with the infantry through this gap here. I do actually manage to take out the Pak 38 with my mortar carrier, so that worked out really well. And now I'm going to move my mortar carrier away so that it doesn't get counter-batteried again. And then what I'm going to do is just align that on target with the mortars, and I'm going to counter-battery their mortars now, because they are infantry mortars and mine's a mortar carrier, so allows me to take advantage of that quite nicely. The Spitfire Mark 9 from Karl, really useful, really helpful. Took out the one of the mortars for me. I'm just going to be firing away, trying to pick off the other one. Now you can see me starting to make a push with infantry on the left side here. So if there's any infantry in this tree line, I would probably know about it because the front line would be pushing towards me. But I do spot these this MG42 and also the AT weapon here. Another AT weapon just there as well. So what I've got to do is actually try and take out some of these units. I'm going to try and mortar that AT weapon. Got a couple of rounds onto target there, although that is a little bit off. So I decide instead what I'm going to do is use smoke. And what I'm going to do is smoke off this gap. And then that's going to allow me to actually push forwards with my infantry and allow them to be covered by the half track. So you can see all of the fire support opening up here, deleting the MG42 and the IG-18. And that's why you line up your half tracks like this. So they're basically nicely spread out. You can see I've got the armoured leader here providing the extra veterancy to the armoured rifles and half-tracks, and I've got the M5A1s providing extra veterancy to Carl's Honey Stewart here, as well as my half-tracks. Again, as I move my units, I'm going to keep them in the command radius, and the armoured leader moving over to those armoured rifles. Now I'm going to spot out enemy infantry there. Now I'm basically waiting to push through this gap where the smoke is and take out these fire support. So the AT gun, there's a machine gun I believe, and an IG as well. And those IGs, they're interesting, they're definitely great against enemy infantry, but they need to be supported by infantry, otherwise they will definitely die. I'm going to be using my mortar carrier to try and take out this Panzergrenadier. Going to be pinning them down, and then hopefully taking them out with the armoured rifles. Meanwhile, on the right side, I did bring up another armoured rifle squad. I don't unload it or use it for a while, because I was very much concentrated on my push on the left side. And this is what I really like to do in this game, is focus all my units in like one location. So I find like a weakness, like I have now, and then I'll basically focus all of my units in that direction. So I've even brought over these half-tracks and jeeps from the right side. You can see I've left this like bare bones sort of defensive, and then I've got all of my units here, like all of them. They have brought over a Stug 3, I'm going to have to be a little bit worried about that. But we do have Phase B coming up in 30 seconds, and I was thinking, well, what I can do is probably just bring in a jumbo to help deal with that Stug. KU-87 does come in, takes a lot of 50 cal fire from all of these half-tracks and so on. That is forced to pull back, or it can even do anything. Didn't really have a target. Armoured leaders taking shots from this Stug, and my armoured rifles here were forced to already fall back. Now this Stug 3 from last light does have 2-star veterancy, which does actually cause me a little bit of an issue with that infantry there. But now I've got multiple units ready. I've got Command M5A1s, I've got the M8 Greyhound, got the half-tracks of course, and I've got the mortar carrier, so we can definitely make a nice combined push into this area here. I'm finally unloading the armoured rifles on the right side. You can see I'm making some movements here. You can see me just shifting over the orders. I eventually decided to bring this half-track over to the left side again to just assist with the rest of my forces, whilst my infantry and AT weapons move up on the right side. This definitely has given us a little bit of ground here, although my teammates making up the majority of the front line currently. Pork Surprises, RGR Marauders, or Ranger Marauders, sorry, and the rifles there pushing up on the left side, and in the centre definitely making a lot of ground with Carl, who's pushing up with the 15th Scots Division, doing really, really well. I'm just having these armoured rifles push across. They're going to come to here, and then they're going to walk up this tree line. See if I can get quite far up. I'm so thrilled to get caught out in the open there. Going to get pinned down by the M8 Greyhound. That Greyhound's pretty much just here for recon, just for mobile recon. I also have this recon squad here, which has got a really nice line of sight onto a lot of things. Greyhound is going to get rocketed by the ME-109. Does take quite a bit of damage and is forced to fall back after the rocket strike. I'm going to be using the mortar carrier to attack this 36mm flak, or 37mm flak. That's pretty much an easy kill for my mortar. I'm just going to let that happen. The great thing about this mortar, it does have 10 HE, which is actually quite strong for a mortar. And it's also very mobile, so that's why I love using it. So you can see there, as soon as I finish with the mortar strike, I just move the mortar carrier away from where it was, so that if like a bomber comes in, for example, it's not actually going to kill it. So all of the half-tracks opening up again, the 50 cals going at it. And if they come even closer, then they take the damage of the 30 cals as well. And here comes that jumbo I was talking about. So, we're a few minutes into phase C, or into phase B, sorry. And my jumbo's finally arrived at the front line. And the idea here was to use the jumbo to take the fire from the Stug, possibly even kill the Stug, and then rush through with the rest of my units. Over on this side, some sausage pass making some ground. Unfortunately, Carl's Honey Stewart did get ambushed on that side. I'm a little bit worried about that. See, my jumbo is taking the fire from the Stug 3 now, but with the 21 front armour, that should be perfectly fine. The crew was knocked out briefly. We're just getting all of my half-tracks and the M5A1s into position. I'm not using all of them, just using 4 plus the M5A1s to just charge on round. And what we're going to do here is just put all of these 50 cals and 30 cals onto target of this Pack 38 here. The Pack 38 kind of popped up, and well, at the wrong time, as the half-tracks do come through and pin that down. So I've just got the 4 half-tracks forcing their way forwards, providing fire down onto the Pack 38, and now I can push through the M5A1 safely, now that the jumbo's forced back the Stug. Going to obviously continue to drive forwards the jumbo, as I will need it to support my troops. The IG is going to be destroyed, and the Stoss troop on the right side also going to be destroyed. We've taken out that weapon there. There is still the 2 Stoss troop on the left side here, but that's exactly the reason why I have this Jeep and the M3A1 there, just to sort of cover that off if they come up across into the open on this side. All of the fire support that's left here should be fine to cover off, and I've got a couple more infantry coming in. So you can see here, Stoss troop missed their shot onto the M3A1, going to get attacked very heavily by the jumbo and the 30 cal. You can see the Stoss troop there get destroyed. I also destroy an Alpha Clara recon here. Got these half tracks moving to the right side, but they can't break through the tree line here. Going to be my Greyhound's job to shoot that mortar for a little bit. Now, with it also being phase B, I do have access to the Calliope, so I'm bringing that up. I'm not entirely sure where the Stugs went, so I'm sort of bringing up the Calliope just so I can kind of stun that, and also maybe take out some of the infantry. This half-track's kind of probing in the centre at the moment. These ones are just taking position in the hedgerow. If anything comes through this tree line, we can just basically destroy it very easily. M5A1 is going to be engaging one of the tanks coming down the road. And by moving up on this side, we basically bypassed all of these AT guns, making them completely useless. So this is a Stug 4 brought in by Last Light. He's going to be engaging my jumbo. The jumbo here, well, that's not going to get taken out very easily, that's for sure. And with the Stug 4 targeting my jumbo, I'm going to get both of the M5A1s to harass it, and then the jumbo actually lands a final blow onto that tank. So, really nice job by the jumbo to clean up that Stug 4. I don't know if it was a relatively lucky hit. I think it was more lucky that it penetrated, not that it specifically hit. So this half track, it made a lot of ground until it bumped into the Stug 3 from earlier, and the Stug 3 here is going to make short work of that half track. Another Stug 4 on its way. Just going to get that half track into cover. You see I've still got these 30 cal Jeeps waiting in the hedgerow here. Going to be using the Calliope to try and take out the Pack 38, and while with a couple of rockets we make that happen. Get rid of one of the AT guns. And then the next target for the Calliope is going to be this Pack 38 hiding behind the Stug 3. It only has 1 health left. We're just going to try and rocket that down, and then basically get some infantry into position push through this tree line, because what I'm worried at the moment is because the front line's pushed so far forwards. If they have like anything in this field, for example, or in these trees, then when I try and push around with my Command M5A1s or even the half tracks, then what will happen is I will get ambushed and lose tanks and half tracks unnecessarily. Whereas if I actually have some infantry to lead the charge through the tree lines, then I should be fine. And that's the plan. So just going to drop out some armoured rifles, run them through, and then I can charge around with the half tracks to support them afterwards. Just basically slowly moving up. I've got a new AT gun on the right side.
Enemy spotted. Be ready.
And that was just so that this 57mm gun could eventually move up further on the right. I don't actually unload that for a little while, again because I was concentrating so much on moving all of these forces. You can see I'm giving them all these commands so that they continue onwards. They're going to be moving through this cover, and then the half tracks will be following them up afterwards, once I know that there are enemies to kill there. If not, then I can just leave them further to the left. M8 Greyhound's going to be dealing with the Sostrub, not in letting them get close. I've also got the mortar carrier trying to predict where they're going to go. I do have 8 rockets left of the Calliope, so they're going to be used to pin down the enemy infantry there. So pin down the Panzergrenadier and hopefully also the Stoßtrupp. And you can see that had a big effect because it caused the front line to be pushed back quite significantly. Continuing to run forwards the armoured rifles on the right side with the armoured leader. And I also still have a couple of these infantry in the half tracks, and that was actually on purpose. Like, I didn't choose not to unload them because I was kind of planning on maybe going a bit further, like trying to move them more to the left. But with this Stug moving over into line of sight, I couldn't actually afford to like push them through with the infantry still in the half tracks. I had to just jump them out for now, and the idea was that I would bring up another jumbo.
Yes, sir.
And have both of these jumbos take on the Stugs so that I could make an opening to run across towards this big amount of cover here. It will definitely give me a lot of ground on the front line. We're currently running a 58% lead with +2, and things are still pretty intense. There's a lot of air engagements going on with my teammates. I generally actually don't focus on airplanes very much anymore. I used to really like the airplanes, but on this deck I pretty much just have Mustangs, and if I started to get hit very hard by enemy aircraft, then I would probably bring in some Mustangs. But otherwise, to me, there's not really much point. By the way, still just carrying on here. I'm letting this mortar fire at the enemy mortar position, which I thought was there. Jumbo's now engaged the Stug 3, and I've also got my second jumbo coming up here. Also got the Command M5A1 still providing the veterancy. Over on this right side, well, we have Stug advancing on our position. It's going to be bumping into my AT gun here, going to be dropping off the second AT gun, finally unloading this one. Once that gets into position, it can shoot and one-shot one of these Stug 4s with 3 stars. That's not actually uncommon at all. I also destroyed the Stug on this side thanks to the jumbo. So Stug's being destroyed all over the place. Unfortunately my AT gun does go down to the ME109. But that's perfectly okay, something to be expected after it was revealed like that. But as long as the 76mm with the 3 stars is still alive, that's fine by me. Now enemy Nebelwerfer being used, and that's going to be destroying my armoured rifles, but I'm continuing to swing over into the middle of the map. Got these armoured rifles spread out and running through here in cover, and then swinging around the Command M5A1 with the half tracks over to the left side to counter this infantry. I've also got a jumbo heading left, got a jumbo heading right. And I'm not really worried about getting too close to this infantry because, again, 150 meter range Panzerfaust, I'm not going to be in range to kill the M5A1s, and I can just kill off those 5-man infantry squads very quickly. Calf track and M5A1 always going to do a lot of damage very quickly. I am like resupplying my Calliope here, and I've also brought up a second one to use. Enemy AT gun is engaging my Jumbo. I'm actually going to get the Jumbo to focus down the 1 health Pack 38 first, so that I can get rid of that. Having that pinned down though, I want to make sure that this Pack 40 is pinned down. I use the mortar to hit that hard. Take out the Pack 38, and now I'm focusing on the Pack 40. With the help of the mortar carrier, I am going to hit that very hard, although my Jumbo is forced to fall back for now. Over on this side, I reveal the Panzer Grenadiers with the help of the armoured rifles. And now I'm using the Jumbo, half-track and M5A1 to continue to push left into Roback, allowing Karl to make a lot of ground with his infantry. So the Jumbo's now falling back, and what they're going to do is try and take advantage of that by moving up a Stug. But as you can see, I'm now using smoke to cover off my fleeing Jumbo from the Stug there.
Go to hell.
Enemy mortar was destroyed on this left side. My half-track and the M5A1 do have line of sight onto these 81mm mortars, so we can take them out very nicely. Jumbo trying to shoot down some of these planes with its 50 cal on the top. Just getting caught out. Because it's on attack move, it is going to stop every time like a plane gets near, which can be quite annoying sometimes. By the way, I'm going to bring over the M5A1 and I'm going to start to pin down the MG42, allowing Karl's rifles and Bren group to continue to move up. Take that out for him. Nice combined push in terms of teammates here, which is really nice. I was working very well with Karl throughout this game. He actually brought over a AA for me as well later on, I believe. And he was helping me out with the airstrikes, obviously earlier in the game. And now I'm providing the heavy armour support for his rifles and the Bren group there. So my half-track's continuing to push up, continuing to push the front line forwards. Just sort of spreading out quite a lot now. I'm trying to get these armoured rifles over into these buildings. You'll see me start to try and move them over to the right side, whilst I've got one unit of armoured rifles moving over to the left side with all of these half-tracks, which are, again, still making ground. We're running a +3 currently, and whereas we would nearly be at the end of the game by now, we're only nearly halfway in terms of points. So the push is still continuing. And my Jumbo is going to be engaging this Stug 4. It's fully recovered its morale, so that's great. Going to be moving up the half tracks while the Stug 4 is distracted. And now I'm going to be bringing in the Calliope to try and hit that as well. Also allows me to basically get rid of any infantry in these buildings. Unfortunately, one of my M5A1s does finally go down in the middle. It was rather frustrating, but I guess you had to lose a unit eventually. So there we go. Still got this M5A1, and that's going to be assisting the Jumbo. It was this Stug 4, I believe, that took out my M5A1. Didn't really stand a chance. The M5A1s just can't really deal with the Stug 4 because of the 12 armour. However, the Jumbos do just fine, and as you can see, I'm starting to move up the Calliopes as well. Running down this Nuremberg 42 with my M3 half-tracks. And, well, this right side, I basically completely ignored it. I basically went round it because earlier we saw all of those AT guns and so on here. Therefore I can't push up my M5A1s early game on this right side, which led to the push happening on the left and centre side. Bringing up the Calliope, that's going to help finish off the Nebelwerfer, hopefully. Although all of the rockets just went in a really weird line and didn't actually do the job. We managed to take out enemy AA there. It was good, and now this Jumbo is engaging the mortars. This Calliope is going to be having another go at the Nebelwerfer. And my Jumbo does take out one of the mortars. So now this Jumbo is engaging this Stug 4, and I'm just moving the M5A1 out of line of sight because that can't really do much to a Stug at that range. If I could get it closer, then it would be fine. So I'm just going to let the M5A1 take care of this armoured car for us. And then the Jumbo can safely attack the Stug 4. This half track's still alive after the rocket strike from the planes, so I'm just going to have that continue to harass the Nebelwerfer 42. And well, with the Stug moving back, it should allow me to move up these armoured rifles soon into the compound where I had originally intended. And you can see me using the attack move orders there to continue on that side. Now, since I've surrounded all of the infantry on the right side, I am just going to try and move forwards now with my own infantry. And the 76mm AT gun is going to open up onto the MG42. You can also see me bringing up some more reinforcements. Got two Jumbos here, supported by a Command M4A1. And the idea was just to have these guys rolling forwards on the right flank to take care of anything that was there, just to open up the front entirely. My armoured rifles do take out the Stug 4 with their bazooka, very nice. This one had attempted to beforehand but got pinned down and lost quite a few men in the process, but it's okay. We managed to get rid of the Stug 4 in the end, and now this Jumbo is basically moving up to take on the Stug 4. This was a pretty precarious situation because at this range both tanks could probably one-shot each other at that range. But having lost a lot of men, looks like Dura SVK surrenders on the left flank. His Panthers are left to his teammates' command. My Calliope is going to be opening up onto the reinforcement road of Last Light. Last Light's going to be pushing onto me with these Stugs still. Armoured rifles are going to get pinned down by the 81mm mortar, unfortunately. My unit's still moving forwards on this right side. I probably should have been moving forwards all of my units on this right side, but I think I was very apprehensive as to what was actually in these tree lines, because they did actually have quite a large presence on the right side early on. I'm just making sure that the battlefield is clear with the Jumbos and the Command M4A1s before moving the rest of my troops down there. And I'm also obviously focusing on all of this lot up here with my half tracks like spread about. I've still got the mortar half track here, which is trying to help out against Roback. Carl's moving forwards. He's got full control of this town now, which is great. But yeah, I'm just continuing to move on. Jumbo now engaging the Nebelwerfer there, and my M3 half track still chasing it down. Trying to get men into position. I've got these armoured rifles pretty far up now. And my Calliope is still moving forwards as well. I've actually brought up this unit here, the supply, to resupply the Calliope, which only has 6 rockets left. And as you can see, I'm now moving forwards all of these units on this right side. I'm leaving these 2 jeeps here because I was pretty sure there was some Stoss troop here somewhere if I hadn't already destroyed them. But either way, just didn't want them to flank into the back of my units, so just keeping the jeeps there to keep an eye on them. I do lose a half track to this Stug 4, but now my M5A1 and Jumbo are engaging those Stug 4s at pretty close range. The M5A1 should be able to do quite a lot of damage. They are focusing that quite heavily. Fortunately, the M5A1 does move in a relatively safe way. get away from the Stug. They bring in some ME-109s to try and rocket and damage the morale of my Jumbos. With the Stugs attacking the M5A1 and causing it to fall back, they actually changed their target onto the Jumbo. It's probably a bit of a mistake. But the Jumbo do manage to take out the Stug 4 eventually, and the second one is still under fire. Now when you're looking at the ammo, it's mainly because the 50 cal was used up quite a lot in attacking the enemy airplanes. And now here you can see they are rushing us with a lot of Stugs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 Stugs just rushing up to take on my Jumbo. And they do manage to sideshot one when it was forced to fall back. Thankfully, Carl has my back with the Typhoon AT and does force all of these Stugs to fall back for now. There is a Panzer IV in there as well, which is upvetting them all. I'm going to be bringing up my own reinforcements now, and as you can see on this right side, still clearing these units. I'm happy to move through this cover with the Jumbo and the Command M4A1. I do bring in a Stug just before I get my half-track to the edge of the map, so didn't manage to stop them spawning there, and therefore they do manage to bring in a Stug from that location. This Jumbo though, my god, it definitely took a lot of shots and was not going down. Absolutely crazy. Here goes my Calliope, firing away once again. Trying to keep all of these tanks pinned down for as long as I can so that I can bring up the reinforcements or bring across the reinforcements, take care of them. Using up a lot of rockets there just to pin them down as long as I can. Also, I'm in a pretty safe position here. I've got obviously my armoured rifles in the buildings. Also got these like armoured rifles here, for example. And they also have the crossfire from this Jumbo, which just side shot the Stug as it came up the road there. So they're still charging down this Jumbo. It has 15 ammunition left, and is going to basically be using every single last shot to try and survive against the Stugs pushing towards it constantly. Again, more rocket strikes coming in onto Jumbos. And well, what do I decide to do? I said earlier, when somebody decides to use a lot of airplanes against me, I'm going to bring in a lot of my own, and here come multiple Mustangs. So I've got 5 Mustangs in the sky. You can see they're all spaced across, and they're just going to cover the air spawns now. That was the idea. You can see as soon as an ME-109 comes in, going to get shot down, especially with the help of Hawk's Prize's Thunderbolts. And my M4A1 does get destroyed on the right side there, unfortunately, and I am losing a few half-tracks here and there due to the advancing Stugs. Calliope does get caught out, line of sight onto the Stug 4. Armoured rifles do manage to take out that in the end. This Jumbo's still sitting alive, and now these armoured rifles are trying to take out this Stug 4. Now I'm going to move my Jumbo into line of sight. That's going to open up at very close range onto the Stug. And well, just towards the end of the game there, yeah, the game does end as that Stug fires off. I believe it probably would have just killed my Jumbo, but after 36 minutes and 16 seconds we do reach the 4,000 points limit, and we win the game. Having like +3 for that long does allow us to actually hit the points cap. And if we go over to the team perspective, well, my team did exceptionally well. So myself, I got 3,365 kills to 980 losses. Pork Surprise did really good on the left side with 3,640 kills to 1,310 losses. And Carl did a great job in the centre with his 15th Scots Division, 2,790 kills to 1,745 losses. So if we go over to the kills, we can have a look at what really made a difference in this game. And it was actually quite varied, honestly. M5A1s, I always find they do good. Really, really nice unit. That one definitely paid itself off. The M3A1 half-track here, picking off a few units, but this Jumbo, definitely MVP with multiple Stug kills, killing off the Pak 38 there, a couple of mortars and the Nerberwerfer. We do see the 76mm AT gun picking off a couple of Stugs as well. And we have an M5A1 with more kills, a couple of Stug kills onto that jumbo. Mustang killed FW190. And yeah, I think most of the units I brought in paid themselves off. Like this armoured rifle is killing like a Stug, that's a really good kill. Jumbo's just killing Stugs as well. But in general, that's pretty much it. At the end, I started to get spammed pretty heavily by those Stugs, but it was pretty much too late at that point, and they couldn't really bring back the game as we had made so much ground. And also, all of my AT and support from earlier in the game was starting to move up as well. So it would have got to the point where I just had AT guns placed and angled against their reinforcing troops as they came in off map, and it would have just been over anyway. But there we go, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this one. I thought it was a pretty intense game and a really nice sort of example of like a rolling, like a steamroll effect of like American armor with the rifles there. So I really enjoy that kind of play style. Like you just continuously roll forwards through the lines, bring up some artillery, soften them up, and then continue to roll forwards. And it's such a good feeling when it works out in your favor, because there's not really much the enemy can do to defend against it, and they're often scrambling to defend. Either way, that's all. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.